This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Monday, the 15th of January, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Today, the dress code for public offices takes effect. It supports a standardized dress code which adheres to principles including fairness, decency, respect for cultural diversity, clarity, consistency, and safety. The policy received input and public feedback. Minister of Public Administration Alistair West commented on the issue during a recent news briefing last week, Friday. Minister West revealed factors which do not allow persons who do not follow the various guidelines to gain access to public offices. The Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association welcomes the announcement of a proposed cargo ferry service for the interregional transport of goods between Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Barbados. The TTMA says it hoped and anticipated this initial step among these three member states can also aid the ease of movement of people and also facilitate greater integration among the states. It explains the success of this initiative can allow for other CARICOM members to come on board in the not-too-distant future, allowing for economic benefits for all participants. Tobago's road fatality figure rose by 2 after people were killed and a baby injured in a car accident early Sunday morning in Bacolod, Tobago. The two deceased have been identified as Tobago Regional Health Authority employee Shoma Thomas and sales truck driver Kareem Tom. According to police reports, Kareem Tom was driving his car with 3 occupants east along Claude Newell Highway near the Dwight York Stadium around 12:05 a.m. He crashed into a railing and slammed into a tree. Passers-by tried to help the victims in the rain until an ambulance arrived. The conditions of the surviving victims remain unclear. Police are investigating. There is no evidence to suggest the death of a prison officer, Kendall Smith, was linked to the installation of jammers at the maximum security prison. The Some Prisons Commissioner, Deoprasad Ramuta was responding to an Instagram video from General Secretary of the Prison Officers Association, Lester Logie, who suggested prisoners' inability to communicate with their families led to prison officer Kendall Smith's death. Smith, 36, was shot dead at Samro Village in Arima on January 11th around 6:20 p.m. The Massey Group has appointed attorney at law Kerwin Garcia senior counsel to investigate claims made by its former executive vice president, business integrity, and group general counsel Angelique Parson-Potter about its leadership program. Garcia will investigate with attorney Vishma Jai Singh. Parson-Potter raised concerns about the company's engagement of the Delphi Sphere Consulting Group run by a couple, Paul Dominguez and Indira Dial Dominguez, for its leadership program. Parson-Potter was sent on administrative leave until January 12th, 2024, but she resigned on December 27th with immediate effect. In news of the region, the Office of the President of Guyana has posted images of Trinidad and Tobago's Galleons Passage, which said it will be operating between Guyana and Trinidad and later Barbados as part of the creation of a regional ferry service. It said the vessel can accommodate 400 passengers and 60 cars. Onboard facilities include a cafeteria, bar, and VIP lounge. Trinidadian Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley confirmed last Wednesday Guyana, Barbados, and Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago have agreed to a ferry service company to support trade and transport between the three countries. And finally, oil prices jumped by 4% after America and Britain launched strikes in Yemen over recent attacks by Houthi rebels on ships in the Red Sea. Brent crude hit $80 per barrel for the first time this year as Iran-backed rebels vowed to retaliate against military action by Western powers. While the oil price rose, it's below highs reached when Russia invaded Ukraine, but the UK government has drawn up scenarios suggesting further disruptions could hit the economy seriously. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Minutes after the hour at 6 o'clock on this, pretty much the middle of the month, the 15th day of January. Yeah. 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. Full casting this morning. You just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen. We got Richard Raghubar singing. We got Shane and Ruben in the mix. My name is Steve Khan. Let's get straight into the WTs, see what's happening, starting out in San Fernando. Yeah. You've got some traffic and some volume already this morning. Heading northbound from Golaconda Connector Road towards Taruba on the Solo. You've got some traffic there. Then Couva towards Sugargonis main road is already beginning to build. And just before Monroe Road towards Interchange, you've got a lot of volume there for sure. Let's go on East Valencia stretch, a bit busy this morning. Trin City towards UE. And it's pretty much clear until you get to QREP. You got some volume towards Aranguez, and then sticky again from Swim Call heading into Port of Spain. Out of the west, out of Maraval, is beginning to build. Out of Diego Martin as yet. All right. It is 24 degrees at Piarco International Airport. It is 26 in a beautiful Sister Isle of Tobago, Crown Point to be exact. And let's see what the Met Office is saying for our weather for today. They said it's going to be partly cloudy and cloudy conditions accompanied by occasional showers during the morning to early afternoon. All right. Maximum forecast temperature for today, 31 at Piarco, 30 at Crown Point. And checking some temps across our listenership. Toronto, you're sitting minus 13, minus 13. Yikes. Ma'am, you're at 22. Orlando, 13. New York, minus 4. Atlanta, 4 degrees. London, 1 degree with some sun. Tampa, 14. Washington, D.C., you're sitting at minus 3. You've got some flurries there for sure. But Toronto, you're freezing. Minus 13. Ouch. Okay, let's see who sent us hellos first thing this morning. I'm going through my list here. First off, Oliver Man Warren, good morning. Wendy and James. Wayne B. in Covington, Georgia. Ambrose Blah, good morning to you. DJ Ray out in Tampa. And he says another grandson born in New Orleans yesterday. So congratulations to you all, DJ Ray. Carol Joseph, Marcia Rock out in Florida. And CJ New York enjoying his MLK Day. It's a public holiday in the U.S. Ewart Ratchball, Slick Money Grip, John Cato, Trinidad Margo out in Florida, Guy Small in New York, Brenda Isaac, Dave Gosine, good morning to you, Dave. Rena Boodoo Jennings, good morning, and Randy Kelly, hope all is well. On WhatsApp. GNC Auto Security, good morning to you. You have a great day. Let's see. Val, good morning. And Dan Raj, good morning to you guys as well. All right. Paul Richards, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday to you. I'm all right. How are you, Steve?
Oh, I'm tired. It's been a very hectic weekend. Very hectic. Yeah. Got some news on Saturday morning that someone that I've known all my life who raised me as a child passed away in his sleep on Saturday morning. So I got that call and flew down the road. Funeral is today. So it was a sad weekend, but pretty busy. Pretty busy. Reminisced a while for a bit. Yeah. So that was my week. I don't even know what's happening until you said it in the news this morning. Sad news that you said about Backla Tobago having an accident where 2 folks lost their lives, and the baby was involved in the accident too, was in one of the cars. Is that what you said there, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. The baby is all right, right?
We don't know.
Okay. All right. When Wendell Stephen was joining us, he just jumped back off. Yeah.
We're unaware if the baby is all right so far.
Yeah, good. Showin K, Dennis Passad, Richard M. Jeremiah. Good morning to you all. Wendell Stephen. Good morning to you.
Morning, Steve. Morning, Paul. Good morning, Richard, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, our international listeners and viewers.
Mm-hmm.
How are you all?
Not bad at all. You see,
What did I miss? I accidentally closed off the show just now because of all these stupid pop-ups that come up.
Once again, we have to tell this anyway.
No, I don't know what they call blog lines, and it's trade stocks, design unique invites, all manner furnish your home, all manner of crap that pops up on the side of my thing.
You know why, right?
And no, I don't, because I've never gone to these sites.
Well,
so I don't know why.
Because you're going to the other sites.
Not from my laptop. I don't use my laptop for nothing else.
You see what you said, not from your laptop. From your account.
That's what you
don't. You didn't say no, it's not from your laptop. There you go.
Yeah, I don't open anything on this laptop except radio.
Yeah, but you open it and you open it with your accounts on the other laptop. That's the issue. You don't have to open it on your laptop.
I wish.
All you have to do, Wendell, is do not accept cookies. That's all.
And sometimes you can't watch at something if you don't.
Yeah, I don't want it. Once I have to accept cookies, I gone. I'm not accepting it. I'll get it somewhere else.
There are some things that come that you have to open, and you can't open it without accepting the cookies.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, then I ain't opening it.
Yeah. And any video I get longer than 30 seconds to a minute, trust me, I ain't opening it.
Yeah. Of course, yesterday was also the school's Panorama. Champs from last year, Naps combined, I think, placed second. Renegades youths placed first. Sexy San Fernando results.
Wasn't this Holy Faith, a convent of Pinal, who won?
Well, it's a renegade. I have to get Sexy San Fernando will send me the results because her daughter plays with Naps combined. So she plays wonderful steel pan in church and in Panorama and so on. So I'll wait to get the results there.
Bernadette Brown is listening, she'll send, because yesterday I had one of those days and I just decided, you know something, I'm just going to put on my television and let whatever thing, and I just started to watch reruns of 2.5 Men. Then I started to watch some live reggae concerts, but she had suggested to me that I go to Pan, but that meant leaving home and driving all the way down to town. So I say, you see that not they happening, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a couple birthdays to get out of.
Today is Dane Galston's birthday.
It is Dane's birthday. That was one of the birthdays I had.
I'm not even worried to call him because he'll be sleeping.
Yesterday was Sherwin Kerr's birthday, a listener and regular messenger to our program. He had his birthday yesterday. And Kamal George's birthday was yesterday too. Today is also Maria Robertson, Marlon Williams, Shastri Buru Singh. I think Shastri passed. So I think Shastri. And Robert Harper, who is another regular listener to our program. He is celebrating his birthday today, along with Colette Spooner out there in New York. I'm sure Colette is coming for Carnival. She never misses Carnival. She is also celebrating her birthday today. All right? And, well, you would have called all these names that sent messages for the morning.
Right? Yeah. Brenda Isaac, Mrs. R, Slick Money Grip, guys. All good morning. Guy Small is saying Holy Faith Convent of Pinal won the secondary schools Panorama.
Right, that's what I thought. I read that.
Won the under 21 year category.
All right. Okay. So there were categories. All right. You're on the ball, the guys. I see Brenda Isaac say yes, Brenda. I guess she meant when I said when I called the name of the school to that one, that I understood one. Because I saw it's Dr. Nan Gadsby Dolly who posted it on her page because she was on stage with them. That's where I saw it. Good morning, Dr. Dolly. And good morning to all. Well, we'll meet all of them tomorrow again. But I went to a party over the weekend, Foster Cummins' birthday party. I haven't been out for a little while. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was up at what's the name of that place? I've only been there once, and boy, did it have rain, as if it hadn't rained nowhere else in the country except up Maraval side on Saturday. I swear.
Oh, you went up that ridge.
Pouring rain. 101, Estate 101, I think that's the name of the place.
Oh, Maraval Road, yeah.
My God, if you see
On
rain,
the saddle.
rain, non-stop rain. And then by the time I left, of course, whatever hour the morning and going home, there was rain all over the country apparently after.
Yeah, yesterday morning had some good rain.
Yeah, just like that, yeah.
Well, it's a transition from the wet to the dry season. So we are going to get some rain. Thank goodness. We do have the Sahara dust to deal with.
So, I don't know if you all got it over the weekend, but there was a very disturbing voice note being circulated.
Yeah. I didn't share it because I said this sounded like mischief all over again.
Well, the Minister of National Security has commented on it because actually there were two. There was one related to a police station, and there was one which made threats to the Prime Minister, parliamentarians, judges, crooked police officers, legal officers, gang leaders, and the Commissioner of Police.
Councillors and MPs too?
Yeah.
He added in at the end?
Oh, so they got him already, right?
Did they?
I'm asked. They would have. I would have assumed.
Got who?
The individual who made those threats.
No, Steve, they didn't get them. They're investigating. We can't play it because it's filled with profanity. Well, the two that I heard were filled with profanity.
Yeah.
The one regarding the call to talk about, I suppose, home invasion, which the person got very irate. And then the other one, which is threatening the Prime Minister, parliamentarians, judges, crooked police officers, councillors, other gang leaders, and the Commissioner of Police.
Yeah, I heard that one. And again, as I said, when I said, what kind of level of madness is this? And then, what they call it, ghost gang? That's what they call it themselves?
Well, yeah. Minister Hines said, quote, we have a serious gang problem in the country. So we have the anti-gang law, which was passed. We have anti-gang units, sorry for laughing, in the police service and around the country. And they continue to gather evidence, he says, and their job is to suppress and break up gangs.
You know what you're doing, right? Or Dominic Calipasad, like what he did the other day.
I am? I didn't realize it. I'm going to read it. Anyway. So the minister says they have anti-gang units, we have anti-gang laws. And when I think they arrest somebody and charge them for being in a gang, all these gangs they have.
They did that the other day?
They haven't. No, talking about in the volume of gangs that they're purporting to have. Okay, arresting one or two people for gangs when you are on record, depending on who you listen to, saying you have 47 gangs, or 86 gangs, or 112 gangs, and a gang is more than one person, 2 or 3 people who have come together to commit criminal acts. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're arresting 1 or 2 people, or 4 or 5 people every couple of months. I mean, how effective is this anti-gang law being applied and the anti-gang units in the police station? They always have intelligence there, but they just can't seem to get any evidence.
I don't know how to respond to these things, sometimes, because we know where the problem lies. The problem lies within the TTPS. I don't know how many times I've said that.
Lies within the TTPS.
It lies within them.
Part of the problem. I wouldn't say the problem lies with the TTPS. A lot of the problem lies with white collar criminals who are posing as business entities and bringing in the guns and the drugs too.
So who
half
are
of the- yeah.
So who you think they partnering up with? Who you think are
Right,
running
but
the
that's
meeting?
part of the problem. I'll be dressed up so to the funeral. Yeah.
Our
Part of the
protective
problem.
agencies, the TTDF, the TTPS, the prison service, the immigration, the customs. We have too many people in those places that are compromised. Too many. It
And
was
that is part of the problem.
yeah, we have too many. We have too many people in business. We have too many people in politics. We have too many people in life who have compromised themselves because of the lifestyle they want to live. And that's where we are. We are paying the price for it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The other video that was being circulated over the weekend, which you shared with me, is the video of the Prison Officers Association official who was asserting that the officer who was killed recently, Kendall Smith in Arima, is linked to the fact that the jammers are on the prisons and that inmates cannot communicate with their families because the legitimate means of doing so, which is the phones which are monitored in the prison, are non-operational. It's the first time I've heard that, to be very honest.
I heard that before.
But what was confusing, I know he was actually officially calling for the resumption of the inmates to be able to get access to their communication with their family, which is their right, under particular circumstances, not all,
Right.
Which is their right. So it will be interesting to find out if that is indeed happening. Well, the acting prisons commissioner, Diopo Salamuta, has denied there's any link between the death of Officer Kendall Smith and this situation which exists in the prisons.
Now, when I heard this prison officer, right, I'm saying, okay, you're making legitimate claims, although I didn't understand.
You're making claims, not all the claims may be legitimate.
Right. What I'm saying, so I'm going to qualify that now. Jammers are something that they use worldwide. Why would you think that jammers is not a good idea?
Why did he say that? He didn't say that. He said
intimated that.
No, I didn't get that. He wasn't particularly articulate, but what he was saying is that he spoke about the jammers being turned on, which he didn't seem to have a problem with. But the prisoners don't have access to the legitimate means of communicating with their families, which means the jammers working.
So that's where I think he should have focused on. He should have focused on the fact that the phones in the prisons that I think they had set up, that is the problem.
He should not have brought in the jammer situation because it seemed to imply that he find the jammers should be turned off.
Right.
Which I don't think is what he really meant to say. Right? Because he would not have mentioned the legitimate phone call access if he thought the jammers should have been turned on. He was calling for the legitimate phone call access to be resumed.
And then he went down the normal political road that Hines must go, that is the minister's fault. How?
Union man.
Oh, goodness, man.
So, the good news is the jammer's working.
Well, yeah.
That's the good news out of what he said.
I've observed that for a while now. When you drive in the vicinity of the prison, your phone call drops. I've been experiencing that long time now. Huh?
It's supposed to drop.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I've experienced that a long time now.
A particular perimeter around the prison where it's legal.
Yeah.
For your phone call to be intercepted.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, I'm surprised that if it is true that prisoners aren't being allowed access to talk to their family, and in any case, the calls are monitored.
So fix that.
And I know there's a concern that a lot of coded messages are being sent between those inmates and their family members to outsider. So like if they say, I want some bread and cheese tomorrow, that means something. If I say bring corned beef for me, it means something. If I say around the toilet paper, it means something. You understand? There are a lot of coded messages, but then it's all being recorded anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't know who the guy is, but maybe we should try to get him. We used to get Sharon Richards. Has he taken over from Sharon?
he doesn't seem to be the lead person in the union. You know, he what is his designation?
I think it's Luby is his name.
Yeah, General Secretary. He's not the president.
Okay.
Lester Logie. He is the General Secretary of the
Logie.
Prison Officers Association.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Massey Group has appointed Kerwin Garcia as senior counsel to investigate claims made by its former executive vice president of business integrity and group counsel, General Counsel Angelique Parson Potter, about its executive leadership program, which brought Massey into quite a bit of bacchanal in the last weeks of 2023. Right, Miss Parson Potter had raised issues about this leadership program, which she said bizarre rituals and talking to the dead and all kind of dramas, which the company had swiftly denounced and denied. You know, interestingly enough, I didn't know Senior Counsel Garcia was an investigator. He will be investigating along with Vishma Jai Singh. Good morning, Raghubar Singh. Saved by the bell.
Good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners and viewers. Saved by the bell with regard to what?
You see me from saying anything, you're in trouble.
Okay. What investigation is that you're talking about?
That is into the Massey Group's allegations by Angelique Parson Potter.
Oh, that's still going on?
So
Okay.
Kerwin Garcia, SC, will lead the investigation seemingly with an attorney, Vishma Jai Singh.
Okay.
Nice gig. Being senior counsel has its perks.
Well, yeah. But did
Miss
he
Parson
just
Potter
for that, right?
was sent on administrative leave on January 12th, but subsequently resigned on December 27th with immediate effect.
And I see Massey has bought a big warehouse in Florida. Yeah,
That's not new news, is it?
No, it's not.
last week.
No, the
last
news
week.
came out last week, but it is not new news.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
No, I think this is new, you know.
So next warehouse then.
Another warehouse.
And I think they may have sold the other one that you're thinking about. There's some kind of whole transaction thing that went on.
Okay.
At least according to the article. The article was a little confusing to me when I read it last week. But the acquisition of this warehouse, which is huge, as far as I could tell from the article, it was very new.
But the last one, the size of seance they want.
And they said, and they said it would increase their retail distribution presence in the United States.
Well, Massey is
It's
expanding.
an empty warehouse.
Well, all warehouses when you buy them are empty.
No, but I was getting the impression. I was getting the impression it was a warehouse full of stock in it.
No, why would you buy a warehouse full of stock? Really? Where that come from? Wake up now. Who just buy a warehouse full of stock? It's a warehouse. They say a warehouse and stock.
But I don't know if the stock is crosses or sharp
You know what? You just trying to get out of your statement there.
or wrong tables.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate statement. Crime talks between the government and opposition are yet to begin, but UNC will start their own anti-crime town hall meetings at the La Jolla complex today from 6 to 8 p.m. Presenters at the town hall meeting include Professor Hubert Daisley, Dr. Indira Ramprasad.
He was a pathologist, not so?
I think so. Dr. Indira Ramprasad, former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith, and Renee Rodriguez. The public is invited. These will be used in terms of the public feedback to develop a comprehensive plan to fight crime. When they're on, I get into that. She's a criminologist now.
Maybe last
Who's
time
this?
Dr. Indira Rampersad.
But I assume she's going to talk about the economic impact of crime.
She's not an economist.
What, she's not?
No, not that I know of.
But hold on, she's a political scientist, isn't she?
Well, she does political commentary.
Yeah. So,
I think she's done some sociologist work. That could be how, because I know she was part of that team with the late Professor Selvin Ryan, who did that extensive bit of research on youth and crime some time ago. I forget the name. No Time to Step Back or something. So she may be contributing from that perspective, being part of that team that did that research about 10 years ago.
that's someone we have interviewed in the past, not so?
Mm-hmm.
I remember after one interview, I got a call from someone. And I said, okay, well, just listen to the tape. You know, that's a good thing about the program now, is that you could go back and listen to it when people up to the mischief. And I said, go and listen for yourself. As a matter of fact, I pull it up and I record it and I send it for the person.
We've moved one step closer to having regional transportation on the seas.
Yes, I think I glimpsed an article
The
from
Galleon's Passage is going to be the vessel. Did they sign it off?
I think so.
That is the cabinet.
Has posted images of the Trinidad and Tobago Galleon's Passage, which said will be operating between Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago and later Barbados as part of the creation of a regional ferry service. It went on to say the vessel can accommodate 400 passengers and 60 cars, and onboard facilities includes a cafeteria, a bar, and a VIP lounge. On Wednesday, Dr. Rowley confirmed that the three countries had agreed to a ferry service company. I think it's a good idea, to be very honest. I think it's a very good idea.
Sure.
I think it's long in coming.
I'm not going to say that, long overdue.
I think it's long in
how
coming.
long will the Galleon's passengers take to get to
How
Ghana?
long does it take to go to Tobago? 4 hours, 3 hours?
It's the slowest of the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that time is because of the Bocas.
The book, I'm not going to say that. I think that was the
I
biggest
don't know
problem
if that
between
will be a
Trinidad
factor
and
going to
Tobago.
Barbados and Guyana.
It doesn't have that challenge going there. I don't think so.
Right? Unless it's going through the Bocas to go up to Barbados, as opposed to going down to the bottom of Trinidad and coming around. It may still have it, you understand?
Yeah.
If you're using the Bocas. But you have to go past Tobago to go to Barbados. But you don't have to go through the Bocas to go to Guyana. That I think of. Do you? Maybe you do. My brain ain't focusing on the map right now. Anyway, I think it's a good initiative, and I hope it works.
Yeah.
Because it will mean agricultural produce and manufacturing stuff, and people will be able to move, I'm presuming, at a much cheaper rate than flying between these three countries. So you see how it goes. But the big story this morning that's exploding is this issue of these voice notes, and then one in particular attributable to a gang calling themselves Ghost Gang, which the Commissioner of Police and the TTPS is assiduously investigating. The 3-minute long audio was released on Saturday. The TikTok account is at change.tt5, and it's being widely shared and has made threats against the Prime Minister, parliamentarians, judges, crooked police officers, councillors, gang leaders, and the Commissioner of Police herself, which is really disgusting when you think about it. You know, and Minister Hines has said, quote, "We do have a serious gang problem in the country. So we have anti-gang laws which we passed, he said. We have anti-gang units in the TTPS, and they continue to gather evidence, and their job is to suppress and break up gangs." But
You
they
want
get
to
quiet.
respond to that? I don't know if you wanted us to
You should,
respond to that.
be enthusiastically supporting Minister Hines' comments. Come on. You're not?
Well,
You know, dress code is in effect from today
yes, I saw that.
at public offices. So security guards and power trips can no longer deny people access to public spaces. Minister West held a press conference last week and said it supports a standardized dress code, adhering to principles of fairness, decency, respect for cultural diversity, clarity, consistency, and safety.
That's another one that was long in coming, but thankfully it didn't take too long to actually implement it.
Morning.
You understand?
Good morning.
Who's that sneaking behind you there, man?
Avril St. Hilbab
That's Avril?
and her daughter.
Okay, I
She
think I saw
trusts me, you know, so.
There was also another story over the weekend by, I think it's a letter by Ashvani Mahabir recognizing the contribution of Basdio Pandey and recommending to the UNC that they put Michaela Pandey in as a senator in honor of Pandey's wishes. He said roads and buildings and things mean nothing at the end of the day. The true tribute to Basdio Pandey is putting his daughter to continue to make a political contribution. And he recommended that the UNC...
Who said that?
In it. I think it's Ashvani Mahabir. He used to be...
And Mr. That's a male or female? Excuse me. It's male, right?
Sorry?
It's a male, right?
I think so.
Right.
I think he used to be a youth officer of the
presumes is making a big presumption that Miss Pandey Makila wants to be a part of the UNC.
But it was one of his recommendations. And
but the recommendation stands on the promise that Miss Pandey wants to be a part of the UNC. You understand?
I guess so.
And that's the first thing you have to do. You have to ask Makila Pandey if she wants to be part of the UNC.
Yeah.
You can't presume that Makila Pandey has her political party, the Patriotic Front.
Well, I guess he is taking it from the point of view that it should be offered. It should be offered to her. You know? Yeah.
That's something different, yeah.
Yeah. But it was an interesting ode to Pandey again. There were a lot of articles on Basdio Pandey over this weekend.
As one would expect.
Mm-hmm.
She does shaky this morning.
We're only getting glimpses.
She's recovering, from terrible flu that's going around. You all be careful out there with that flu.
Yeah.
Horrible.
When people stress me out, they don't realize the vengeance and Moko is coming on them.
Go and buy Portugal. Portugals are now going $20 for $1 for
I bought 10 last night.
I bought 20 and I ate
it's
all.
Season.
I ate all. I go out in the yard, I peel about 4 and I eat them right there, leading over the wall.
I know what attracts you to Portugals. I have to behave myself. Abel's daughter is in the room.
Yes, behave yourself.
In my usual suggestive stuff. Good morning, Zahara.
Think twice if you need help.
Why Richard just looking like he?
I don't know why he just staring. He just staring at us.
Like I don't know, just staring into space like a.
Yeah,
anyway, good morning to BP Renegades Youth Steel Orchestra, the new champions of the National Junior Panorama competition. They played Voice Composition Woman. Renegades got 207. Renegades Youth Steel Orchestra got 276 points at the Savannah yesterday. And let's big up. I actually said big up. Yes, I did.
Wow. How you manage that?
It just slipped out, Sometimes contamination of the language is a real thing. Let's congratulate.
Let's big up.
BPTT, who are the sponsors of the National Panorama Endeavor this year. They may have pulled out of the collaboration with NCC due to concerns over crime, but they have confirmed the sponsorship, overall sponsorship of Panorama, which I think is really great.
Okay.
You understand?
That is great.
That is excellent. You understand?
Kudos
So
to you, BPTT.
Yeah, great stuff for a corporate entity to do something like that. But they've always supported arts and culture. It's just telling me, I'm fully supporting Panorama as a whole. So BP Renegades Youth Steel Orchestra is the new champions, 276 points. Second place, Thai Tatek. What this is TNTech, because Dennis loves to say Tatek in these scripts. Have you noticed Dennis James' obsession with Tatek as opposed to TNTech? Tropical Angel Harps Youth Steel Orchestra. Good morning, Dennis. And Desperados tied with 273 points. And FCB Supernovas placed fourth with 272 points. And Fonclair Juniors placed fifth. So great stuff. And then the primary school, St. Margaret's Boys, won the primary school junior Panorama, playing Engine Room, Ola Tunji Airwood. That's composed by Ola Avon. You're sure it's composed? I know it's sung by Ola. That is composed by Shaft. Bishop. Jason Bishop, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
What about his new tune? His new tune is really nice, boy.
And that person also. You want to sing Lauren Come Back?
Michael Teja?
Michael Teja is also doing very well.
Yeah.
Bible Presbyterian School playing Masha Montana's Like a Boss in second in the primary school junior Panorama. San Fernando Boys RC playing Kes Savannah Grass third. Education Minister Dr. Nian Gatsby was very pleased with the level of youth participation and thanked all who played a venture a key role in it. We have to congratulate Beverly Ramsey more, I've seen so many improvements in Pan since she's taken the helm of Pan Trinbago and less bacchanal and confusion.
That is a fact.
We should
Have you realized that?
That is a fact.
And sometimes when things are going smoothly, we just don't realize there's somebody making a difference.
Yeah.
And I have seen since Mrs. Ramsey was taken over Pan Trinbago, it is a much better run organization. And some of them will cross in the past. Whose names I will not call.
Somebody gonna tell them, and then he
and what?
Well, since you're so big, bad, and brave, call the names. and what? Call the names.
Last time, you remember he called me get on the show.
She's doing better than all of them man who run Pantry Big in the past. Go and do the research for yourself. All.
But you that's a fact. She has really done well since she has gone in there as president of Pantry Big.
And the only reason an entity like BPTT will sponsor PAN is if they feel that it's being run well, the organization Pan Trinbago, and there's transparency and accountability, which have had question marks in the past. Fight me. Fight me. Fight. So congratulations.
The baddest morning, boy.
Yeah. But am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Wendell is very urban this morning.
Urban. Trying to say I'm black. Again, I'm black.
Pick up. Fight me.
Again, I'm black, right? Very discriminatory language.
Yeah, Wendell.
Yeah.
Very discriminatory language. You know that we are all black here, right? You might consider yourself brown, but you're black.
Big up and fight me.
Big up and fight me. Very
Anybody have papers? Well, you should be thinking of a question for this morning and stuff.
No, I don't have papers.
So I do it too.
But it is 6:45, so we can do papers.
Richard Ragubasing, which one would you like to do since you have to do something this morning?
One more just about I could do the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian.
All right. So it's Monday the 15th of January. My mother's birthday is tomorrow. To remember that.
Oh yeah, okay.
She's going to be 94. Give God thanks.
Wow.
And as feisty as ever.
I can well imagine.
You can't imagine.
Okay, no, I can't. You're right, I can't.
Multiply my mouth by 10. As I said, all the time, goat don't make sheep. All right, so let's start with the express for the 15th of January. Gary goes after ex-police service commission chairman in court. Right, former police commissioner Gary Griffith has filed legal action against former police commission chairman Bliss C. Prasad seeking damages. Couple robbed and beaten by bandits. Very sad news. Aunt and nephew die in crash in Tobago. Tobago lost 2 lives yesterday on the streets around the White York Stadium in Bacalit. And a baby was also in the car injured. We have no information yet on the status of the persons who were injured. Thank God they're alive. Maharaj takes over at Penal Debe. Gotwam Maharaj is the new chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation following the death of the chairman 2 weeks ago. UMC Crime Talk start today at the La Jolla Complex. Tobago East Side wins Animal Farm at the National Panorama Smaller Conventional Finals on Friday night at Skinner Park in San Fernando. Clashes, complaints under former IC chair. There's a new Integrity Commission chairman, Hayden Gittins.
Oh, they named one already?
Yeah, he got his interest by the president.
Okay.
Israel Khan says homeowners must be given time to read warrants. Good luck with that. And TSTT's $24 million cyber failure. Apparently, TSTT spent, which seems to be authorized in the right way, $24 million in terms of interventions for cyber breaches in the last couple of months. So those are express stories trending this morning.
That story on the warrant reading, that might be an interesting one to pull.
Algobasin Guardian today.
All right, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. And of course, today is January 15th.
I'm 14 faster than that now. Still know, but I'm 14 faster than that now.
January 15th. And the main headline, gang alarm. Police investigating TikTok audio clip. Newly formed criminal group threatens to clean up PM, CO, and Commissioner of Police. And that's the main headline. The main picture is that of the young champs. And the other sub-headline is no vending on High Street from today. All of that is on the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. On the back page, it's almost a wraparound because it's celebrating and Carnival. Renegades Youth Triumph. That's the headline on the back page. And it's members of BP Renegades Youth Steel Orchestra celebrate their victory in the 21 and under category in the National Junior Panorama 2024 finals at the Queen's Park, Savannah. So it's just pictures of that and of the occasion. So that's it for the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today.
Let's move to the news day for today. Cops against ad hoc policy on FUL renewals for service members. First time junior PAN win for Holy Faith Convent Penal. Education Ministry tutor meet on back pay for teachers. Belmont shooting leaves man in ICU. Synonym, ferry service poses no problem for our sea bridge. U.S. Ambassador Dragon Deal, a major achievement. And appeal court rules on state's operation of renal dialysis centers. Gary goes after Bliss, lawsuit filed over suspension and after top cop merit list withdrawn. And 2 killed and toddler injured in Tobago accident. So those are trending stories on your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Monday, the 15th of January, 2024.
That whole police promotions issue is a complete mess.
Well, apparently they're taking the commissioner to court now, or they've hired lawyers and seeking to
which is what you would want.
Police Service Commission to investigate the commissioner on it.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess. It's a mess.
And they've created their own mess, huh? They created their own mess there.
You want to specify which mess you're talking about?
The mess of the promotion list. Who they promoted, they realized after they made a mistake and trying to fix it. How do you fix that?
Difficult.
Because the people who have been promoted, who should not have been promoted, will have a problem now after.
And we'll take them to court.
If you try to rescind their promotions.
And how do you not have a standardized, established HRIR process, assessment process for promotions, that you could end up in this whole imbroglio?
Because a lot of times I think it's subjective too.
Well, again, if you had a standardized HRIR process for assessment of performance, and they have exams in some instances, how do you end up in this unless somebody
but you
undermining the HR?
If you even after the exams and the interviews, you still have more people qualifying than you need. And
yes, and then there are other factors
which
which will be documented, which will be taken into consideration to sort out goat from sheep.
Yeah, that's where the subjectivity
but
comes
then
in.
If you could go from 17 to 1, I understand why it could happen.
Yeah. So that I don't know how they're fixing that mess.
Right. But we need to get in. We need to get into our poll settlement. But I need to give you the poll results from Friday. Because Friday we asked you, are you confident that Trinidad and Tobago Police Service can provide a safe carnival for 2024? Give you the results right after this.
The journey begins Saturday, 20th January. Chutney Soca Monarchs semifinals. 30 artists battle for a place of the grand final of CSM. The 2024 Chutney Soca Monarchs semifinals. The Rig, Gulfview, La Romaine. Absolutely free to the public. Message 789-3874 or email southexevents@gmail.com. CSM 2024. Sponsored by National Carnival Commission, B-Mobile, Harrier Suites, Media Partners, Boom Champions, Lit 102.3, Power 102, IETV, Social Media Partners, Masala Entertainment, and West Indian Chutney Music.
All right. Are you confident that TTPS can provide a safe carnival for 2024? Was our poll on Friday. Results are in. 74% said no.
Wow.
So my question this morning is focused on the issue related to gangs and the recent issues with the gang, the voice note, and the Minister of National Security saying the police has an anti-gang unit. So the question this morning is, do you think the TTPS anti-gang unit is operating effectively?
Okay.
That okay?
Yes, boss.
Do you think the TTPS
Your father come up?
is operating effectively?
Agbasi, when you looking and smiling this morning.
Me? No, I had a really tough night. You know, you have some nights that's difficult for you to sleep. Last night was one for me.
Oh, welcome to my world.
Yeah, it was just, it kind of has me.
All right. So 222-8255, toll free. North Americans that are cold and sleepy because it's a holiday today, Martin Luther King Day. 866-525-1099 on WhatsApp at 318-1021. Of course, on Facebook and on YouTube. Do you think the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service anti-gang unit is operated effectively?
That's our poll this morning. We have one vote already from Wayne B. Says no, and Gregory Boyer also says no. Morning, Gregory.
Yeah. Morning, Cheryl Seeley and Ingrid Adams. Brenda Sylvester, Boy Bedesi, Josie Richardson, Dennis Prasad, and Richard M. Jeremiah. Good morning, Joe. Thank you so much to logging on. CJ New York says no.
You know, somebody just messaged me, and they're coming for an appointment in Port of Spain. I don't know how people deal with that traffic from Central and South every day. Going to that funeral last for 8 in the morning and driving south and seeing traffic coming from as far as Couva, straight bumper to bumper. How do you do that every day? And I know a large part of it is because of
But they have no
the
choice.
road on the thing. But even Saturday, I was going to Central, and if you see traffic heading south.
I don't know how they do it. On WhatsApp, Sunny San Fernando says no to poll. Rainy Monday morning. Yes, it's raining in San Fernando. Heavy too. Cascade Sedan says no. DL says no to the poll. Thank you for putting your name, DL. Jaron Joseph says no. Okay. Long Islander says no. Slick Money Grip says no. Marcia Rock says no.
Who's the head of the anti-gang unit here?
Not sure.
I don't know. I have no clue.
Is there a head?
There must be.
And where is the anti-gang unit located? You don't hear anything about the anti-gang unit until these kind of stories come up, you know.
Probably Riverside Plaza. Julie S. Batiste, good morning to you. No.
Is the anti-gang unit the same as the IATF?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Because the IATF is on wrong Charlotte Street there, right? By Renegades, right?
I don't know where they are.
I know where they are, but I don't think it's productive to say it on the air.
Yeah. All right. Eve out in Sugargorna says no.
You know what is the anti-gang unit? Okay.
Do you think the TDPS anti-gang unit is operating effectively? Yes or no?
222 talk 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099. People on the web and app, of course, you can send your votes via the comment section in YouTube, Facebook, Insta Live, LinkedIn, and via WhatsApp at 318-1021.
Hey, it's the biggest and best Southex promotion presents the Chutney Suka Monarch semifinals. It's happening this Saturday, 20th of January at the Rig Restaurant. The energy starts at 8 p.m. We bring back the vibes, the energy, the experience. Vie for your favorite artist. For further information, you can call the Chutney Suka Monarch hotline at 789-3874. That's 789-3874. The Chutney Suka Monarch semifinals at the Rig Restaurant and Bar. And it's absolutely free. We have a call coming through. Good morning.
Good morning. My answer is no, but I wonder if it's because there are flaws in the anti-gang legislation. That is something to ponder. Okay.
Thank you.
It's not like done it for you.
But what are the flaws? Because to me, the act they operate under is wide. Anyway, Rena Jennings said no. Vaughn Drayton also said no. Kenny and Harlem also says no. I'm doing this because Steve disappeared. I think we got Julia Batiste before. Boy Bidesi says no. So the anti-gang unit, where they are, who heading it, and thing is a secret. I didn't even know that those are secrets.
I didn't know who the head is. Because you know the anti-gang unit exists. I remember when I was talking last week about a document I'd read that guides a lot of U.S. institutions with regard to setting up anti-gang, gang task force, gang task forces, and gang intelligence units. So it's like a template of how to do it.
Right.
And how to set them up. Those two branches, a gang task force and a gang intelligence unit, in terms of combating the issue of gangs and criminality. But it's something that we have to get a handle on, and quickly. And I mean, the state has the responsibility in terms of the architecture they put in place to deal with that issue. But you could look at South American and Central American countries and see what is happening with the advancement of gangs in some countries and how they're battling with it.
Yeah.
And the more that we allow crime to go unresolved or without any consequence to the perpetrators, is an additional empowerment tick to the criminal element.
Yeah. And you know,
Gentlemen, we got to run into news. Go ahead quickly, then.
no, all right. Josie Richardson, that's the last vote that came in, said no. But anyway, I'll reserve my comments for after.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendell. Let's get into 7 o'clock.
I said Wendell Custom going quickly, so wait time go quickly for.
I say nothing. News starts now.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is 7:02. This is major news to 7 a.m. on News Power Digital. First, the headlines. National Security Minister says voice note currently being circulated on social media about the newest gang is worrying. The ongoing controversy regarding the promotion of police officers takes a new turn. And there's a new dress code for public officers taking effect today. We have details coming up next. This is major news to 7 a.m. on News Power Digital. Good morning. National Security Minister Minister Hines says the voice note being currently circulated on social media on the country's newest criminal gang is worrying. Officers want Commissioner of Police investigated by the PSC, and the new dress code takes effect. In our top story, National Security Minister Minister Hines has described as worrying a voice note currently being circulated on social media that is being linked to the country's newest criminal gang called Ghost Gang. Minister Hines said the 3-minute-long audio, which was released on TikTok on Saturday at an account at change.tt5, is being investigated by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. The voice note, which has been widely shared, purportedly made threats against the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, parliamentarians, judges, crooked police officers, councillors, gang leaders, and police commissioner. The profanity-filled recording included a warning that members of the gang have guns to take out their targets. National Security Minister Minister Hines has described the worrying note. It is alleged the gang is warning they will soon move to eliminate warring gang members, politicians, corrupt law enforcement officers, members of the legal fraternity, and also the police commissioner. Hines admitted, quote, "We do have a serious gang problem in the country, so we have anti-gang laws which we passed. We have anti-gang units in the TTPS around the country, and they continue to gather intelligence, and their job is to suppress and break up these gangs." The voice note is being investigated by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. In the ongoing controversy regarding the promotion of officers in the TTPS, officers want Commissioner of Police Earl Haywood Christopher investigated by the Police Service Commission, PSC. A letter has been dispatched to the PSC by attorneys representing 93 officers to probe Haywood Christopher. The officers, through their attorneys, want the PSC to act against Haywood Christopher for what they described as his handling of promotions for over 2,000 constables dating back to 2009. The PSC is an independent body established in accordance with Section 122 of the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In their letter, on behalf of officers, attorneys Jagdeo Singh, Karina Singh, Leon Kalicharan reminded PSC of its powers over the police commissioner, saying that dismissing or dismissal proceedings can be constituted for breach of contract or reported inefficiency based on performance appraisal. The attorneys argued that the treatment of their clients in the promotions issue constituted both a breach of their contract for failing to ensure that the human, financial, and material resources available to the service are being used in an efficient and effective manner, and that her inefficient handling of the entire process is cause for concern. The lawyers highlighted that part of the issue stemmed from the fact that the Promotions Advisory Board, PAB, has not been properly constituted or met since 2009, creating a backlog of constables to be promoted to corporal. This backlog saw over 2,000 officers listed to be promoted. Today, the new dress code in public offices takes effect. It supports a standardized dress code, which adhere to principles including fairness, decency, respect for cultural diversity, clarity, consistency, and safety. The policy has received input from the public. Minister of Public Administration Alison West commented on the issues during a recent news briefing.
What we're asking you to do is ensure that your upper body is covered, that your lower body is covered at least up to mid-thigh, that you may wear face mask for whatever reason. Some people are still wearing it for health reasons, some people wear it for religious reasons, for example. But if you do wear a face mask and it conceals your features, you may be asked to remove it so that we can quickly see what you look like and that there's no threat. And in those cases, we'll allow
Minister
you
West also revealed factors which will not allow persons who do not follow the various guidelines to gain access to public offices.
respect of your clothing or in respect of any signage or pictures or whatever on your clothing. No swimwear, no sheer clothing, no bareback, no vulgar obscene messages or images, and no gang symbols.
Crime talks between the government and opposition are yet to begin, but the UNC will start their first anti-crime town hall meetings today at the La Jolla complex in St. Joseph between 6 and 8 p.m. Presenters at this public town hall meeting include Professor Hubert Daisley, Dr. Indira Ramprasad, former Commissioner Gary Griffith, and Renee Rodriguez. After the presentation, the floor will be open for comments and suggestions from the public audience gathered. These will be compiled to be developed into comprehensive plans to fight crime. Prisons Commissioner Deoprasad Ramutta says there is no evidence to suggest the death of prison officer Kendall Smith was linked to the installation of jammers at the maximum security prison. Ramutta was responding to an Instagram video from General Secretary of the Prison Officers Association, Lester Logie, who suggested that prisoners' inability to communicate with their families led to prison officer Kendall Smith's death. The 36-year-old Smith was shot dead at Samaru Village in Arima on January 11th at around 6:20 p.m. Logie, in an Instagram video on Friday, said the state installed cell phone jammers at the maximum security prison last year. Since then, prison officers' lives have been under threat. Logie insisted because the phones in prison locations for the inmates to speak to their families are not working, this was leaving prisoners upset, resulting in threats to the lives of officers. He also claimed prison officers do not control the jammers and called the National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines to implement the monitored in-house phone system for inmates to communicate with their families so that officers' lives will not be under threat. He said the in-house phones are always monitored at the prison facilities. To end our 7 a.m. newscast, here are the headlines. Once again, National Security Minister says voice note currently being circulated on social media and the country's newest criminal gang is worrying. Police officers want Commissioner earlier here with Christopher investigated by the PSA regarding promotion of officers. The new dress code in public offices takes effect today, and Prisons Commissioner Deoprasad Ramutta says there is no evidence to suggest the death of prison officer Kendall Smith was linked to the installation and operation of jammers at the maximum security prison in Aruca. This is Major News to 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have headlines coming up at 8 a.m. with Major News once again at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul, for our Major News. Of course, you can join him again at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Quickly, let's get into our weather forecast. See what's happening. It is 24 degrees at Piarco International Airport and 26 with light rain at Crown Point in Tobago. The Met Office weather for today. Let's see if it's updated. At 6:08, it was updated. Partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with a few light to moderate showers. There is a 20%, which is low chance of the isolated heavy shower and or thunderstorm. Conditions are expected to increase to become increasingly settled by evening. Gusty winds, street and flash flooding, landslides may occur in or near heavy showers, thunderstorms in areas so prone. All right, so that's your weather forecast for today. Let's take a look at that thing we call traffic. Yeah, it was heavy leaving San Fernando. Now, all routes out of Diego Martin, heavy. You got traffic from the Maracas Pillars coming out to the roundabout. Coconut Drive and Mova heading towards the Lookout. You've got it. Lower Santa Cruz, Aranguez, El Scoro. All right. I'm just going to tell you where you think you're going to get traffic. You will get traffic. Grande Stretch, Santa Rosa towards O'Meara, Piaco towards Yui, McCoy Road, Eastern Main Road. It's moving, but a lot of cars as you head towards Barataria, all right, towards 6th Avenue and then towards Mova Junction. Traffic again from Chin Chin Road, Ibis Gardens, traffic towards QREP. That is a heavy spot this morning. And of course, taking a look at Sanford Rivulet Road out in Couva, extremely heavy. San Fernando, by the creek, you've got traffic. Golaconda Connector Road. Leaving San Fernando, you get volume heading just northbound, heavier. As you pass Couva, there is one accident to tell you about. It's the Solomon Hochoy Highway southbound. All right, and that is, to be precise, around the Freeport area. It's northbound. People heading, it's northbound or southbound? I said southbound. I knew that. So northbound traffic, nothing to see here. Move along, move along. All right, so that's your WTs. All right, let's get into the results of our morning poll for the morning. I don't know if Wendell got these. Trinity in Boston, good morning to you. It's cold by you. Sherwin Koo says no.
Yeah, I got those.
Yeah.
Justin Richardson and Sherwin Koo. And so all 19 of the people who voted on the various platforms said no.
Yeah.
They do
and
not
our question, for that no says, do you think the TDS anti-gang unit is operating effectively? That was all. We're going to try and get a guest here now.
All right. Good morning to several of our listeners, one of whom is Gerard Darlington. Give me some interesting information. I'll follow up on it, Gerard. But also I chatted with Jerry Nares over the weekend. We chatted for the New Year. He had called me for the New Year. And I actually saw him over the weekend. And we chatted, interesting conversations, Jerry, of course, was one of the live wires, one of the main strategists back in the days. And we met on many occasions. We would have been part of a team that did a lot of political work. So interesting conversations I had with him over the weekend. Morning, Jerry.
All right, Bossing, you have the results of the poll?
I gave the results already.
Oh, sorry, wasn't listening.
Yeah, that's all right. I had my Portugals. I pegged it and I had it. And I'm now having my coffee.
So
I helped you with the word.
You're eating very healthy. I'm glad to hear that you're eating very healthy.
No, I eat a lot of Portugals.
I know, in the absence of.
Yeah, well, in the absence of oranges, which I can't bear to peel. Oranges make me sneeze. Portugals are a lot more palatable.
We will chat with the Minister of National Security coming up in a couple of minutes. He just wants a couple of seconds to grab a couple of things, and we'll chat with him live with the Honorable Fitzgerald Hines.
There was also another video circulating over the weekend with the Prime Minister speaking and ordering his Minister of National Security to deal with certain issues. That video is as old as 2016. And people started to circulate it almost, it's just... Sometimes people don't fact check nothing again, They just start to share like they're mad. You understand?
Because they want to feel important.
I guess so.
That's why share things indiscriminately, because they want to feel that in the middle of everything. But they're not checking to see. From that, I saw that it was an old video.
Yeah.
Why the secret thing is old video? But they want to feel important, so.
I guess so.
When you share it, you mean that I had it, somebody sent it to me.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
But that note was very, very disturbing.
It is a very disturbing voice note.
Yeah. Say the
And
least.
I hope they get to the bottom of it.
Well, they have a TikTok account, and I know the cybersecurity unit of the Ministry of National Security is quite well staffed.
Yeah.
And threatening the lives of persons is against the law, no matter what medium you use to do it.
Yes.
Threatening the lives of judges and a prime minister and parliamentarians is also very serious. So I'm hoping that they can get to the bottom of it and find the persons or persons responsible. Because if they're claiming they're part of a gang, they've admitted they're part of a gang. That's another charge again. That's another breach of the law.
But in that voice note too, the person said that they have police officers as part of their unit, this army officers, they have all these people as part of the unit. No. And that's when I said, okay, this is foolishness.
Well, first thing you have to, if you've identified yourself as part of a gang, why should I believe anything you're saying without evidence? You understand? It means you have a tendency to break the law. So, but it's a very disturbing voice note, and even the other one where there was an exchange between somebody who was purportedly warning about potential home invasion, and the officer asked where you got the information from, and the cuss out ensued. You understand?
Yeah.
And he's daring the officer to come down to a particular street.
Yeah.
We have guns and we're waiting for you.
Yes. Right.
I mean, the brazenness of this criminal element now.
I think there are people who act in all these things. It's like 3/4 of those videos on Facebook now. It's just
but Wendell, it speaks to a situation that's evolved where there's no regard for law enforcement anymore. There's no respect for law enforcement and their authority in society. That's what it speaks to.
Yeah.
Gangs are threatening public officials. Gangs are threatening officers. Gangs are saying, "Come, we're waiting for you."
Yeah.
Criminals are saying, "Come." It speaks to that deterioration of the criminal elements' respect for law enforcement, and which is a different level of sadness.
I think though, and I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. That there's a level of destabilization taking place that is disturbing. And I think a lot of these voice notes are geared towards doing that, to continue to destabilize the place. This is despite the fact that we agree that we have a criminal problem, and we have no respect for law and order, right? This is outside of that. I think people are feeding on that and seeking to destabilize this place more. I think that's what's happening. So these voice notes is, to me, an act of destabilization. I have no proof, I have no evidence to support what I'm saying, but that's the sense I get.
But they do have a destabilizing effect, whether or not it's deliberate. And I think some of them are deliberately used to destabilize you, right?
Yeah.
They do have a destabilizing effect because people get more and more uneasy. They get more and more uneasy just moving around.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that situation last week at Long Circular Mall. I mean, that there's no regard for whether life generally, and when they decide whoever the target is, unfortunately, is the target and everybody else around.
All right, gentlemen, we do have the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Minister Hines. Good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Mr. Ken, and to all of you.
Yeah, Paul Richard, Wendell Stephen, Richard Singh.
Yeah, gentlemen, the regular team, New Year blessings to you. It's a pleasure to be in your company again. Pleasure is mine and your listenership as well.
Thank you for taking my
call, Minister Hines. Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Minister, we are talking recently about the voice notes that have been going around. More specifically, the one where someone identifies themselves as the head of some ghost gang, and that they are coming after corrupt police officers, judges, politicians, and all manner of threats. What is there an update on the identity of that person?
Not that I'm aware of. I had notice of it myself very early yesterday when it began its viral pathway. And it was, in my own personal estimation, a very frenetic outpouring, as you say, all manners of things being said in there. Very serious things in any event. So I am aware from my inquiry that it has also come to the attention of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I'm aware as to the processes that it would undergo as they try to get to the bottom of it, to determine its authenticity, to determine the extent of the threats revealed in that message. And of course, sometimes you have prankish arrangements where people, particularly in Trinidad, I think, where we have a passion for scandalizing and bacchanalia and noise. Sometimes you do have people who do those things for that kind of reason. But of course, you can never know the depth of this, and therefore inquiry and investigation is necessary. And I am aware that that is underway by the police service, and they're dealing with it the way they deal with all such material on behalf of.
Well, more specifically, Minister, this morning we also polled the issue of the effectiveness of the anti-gang unit of the TTPS. All 19 of our answers came back as no, that they are not effective. What would be your response to that?
Well, I am not able to say that it is not effective. I can safely say it is not effective as it should be. When we first introduced anti-gang law in this country in 2011, I was in the parliament at the time. There was a lot to look forward to in it. Gangs were a problem then. We even had a state of emergency where one weekend in Arima, I think 6 persons got killed, and it triggered a state of emergency issued by the then government. The anti-gang law came alongside severe bail restrictions. In that law, as you would know, we created the offense, the criminal offense of being a part of a gang. We dealt with the local conditions. Unlike the US, where you had colors, Crips and Bloods to identify them, we recognize that there are differences here, geography, neighborhood, streets, and we took into account those things. And of course, we put the law in place. The rest is a very sordid history. Today, we do have anti-gang law, in my view, very watered down, making it a lot more difficult to control them. But the police, I am aware, have been using what is available to them. They have been charging people. They have been prosecuting people under the anti-gang law in Trinidad and Tobago. And the story continues in this regard. So I am not able to say that it is downright ineffective. I can safely say I would like to see more. I would have liked to have the bail restrictions, because my own personal conversation with a few young men in my constituency and to a lesser extent in the country, when I would have encountered them and they're talking to me about the anti-gang law, talking to me as a member of parliament, of course, they indicated to me, even when I visited the prison, prisoners would have indicated to me that they had a dreadful fear of the anti-gang law and the bail restrictions. At that time, you would not have, once you were charged for any offense under that law, you would not get bail for 120 days. That was the roughest part of it. So I've heard them say, charge me for possession of a gun, charge me for a violent act, but don't charge me under the anti-gang law. Today, they won't speak like that because the bail restrictions didn't get the support of the opposition when they became opposition, and there's where we are. So we work with what we have, and I'm fully aware that the police are doing what they got to do as best as they can in the circumstances.
Minister Hines, good morning. Would those sorts of threats issued on the voice note being circulated prompt any increased security for the public officials mentioned?
Well, security is always a high priority, Paul, in this world, in this fast-paced world, in this world populated by us human beings who obviously don't seem to be getting any better, becoming a little more brazen, a little more wanton, a little more, well, of course, possessed of the kinds of weapons that we see on a daily basis. You cannot take anything for granted. So we are always on alert, always focused on the business of safety and security. This kind of threat, once it is investigated and the police come to the conclusion that it is substantial or that the particular threats inside of there represent something to act upon, they will make their recommendations and they will take the necessary action to improve security. But of course, they're going to be analyzing that to come to that position. But for the meantime, security is always a priority.
On an associated note, one of the issues that has been plaguing law enforcement in recent times is the issue of threats being issued from behind prison walls. We have a situation now where a prison officer was killed last week. The acting commissioner of prisons has said there's no evidence to link that unfortunate death of that officer to the jammers that clearly are working in the prisons. But the issue, according to the Prison Officers Association, is the fact that the legitimate communication means within the prison, the phones that are monitored, are non-operational. Is that so? And what is your response to that situation that's arisen?
Well, yes, we have been having challenges with prison environment where the modern technology, the hotspots, the cell phone generally, and communications capacity has allowed prisoners, notwithstanding the fact that the police would have prosecuted them and the courts would have sent them there on remand or to serve a term of imprisonment. Technology has allowed them communication, and with their criminal minds and criminal content, they continue to operate from behind bars. As a result, they've been, as we know, calling hits on people, ordering from their friends outside, extortion on business people, persistent problems, serious problems, and threatening prison officers, causing the death of prison officers from reports available to all of us. And as a result, the state responded by dealing with their capacity to communicate. It is in that context that jammers not need those when I was minister in the Ministry of National Security. We had what the technology allowed at that time, and we had that. It had some effect, limited effect, and as technology evolves, the defense mechanisms have to evolve to deal with it. And so we've done that, and we did that because, as I said, we were attempting in the public interest.
No, we're commending that, Minister Hines, but the issue is not that. The issue is, are the legitimate means, the phones inside the prison which are monitored, are they operational presently?
Well, I tell you, the prison service is now engaged in facility for prisoners to be able to speak via telephone to their relatives. And of course, those calls will naturally be monitored. But those who want to conduct criminal activity from the jail will be because there will always be their need for instruments to communicate unmonitored. And I can tell you, based on the prison rules, as you would know, prisoners do have hours from their family and their relatives and their attorneys at law. So it is not that prisoners are unable to communicate. What was intended here is to protect the lives of prison officers, protect citizens of the country from the criminality that emanates from the jail, and therefore it's an ongoing business. It's challenging, but it has to be dealt with. And therefore, when that prison officer from the prison association, and I will not say the prison association, because you may notice you didn't hear from its president and other executive members. You hear from one of them on an ongoing basis. And of course, I trust you would have seen the response of the prison commissioner speaking on behalf of the administration of the prison service in response to that video put out there by that particular officer, and it is being attended to in terms.
There's also the situation of several crimes in the country where crimes are committed, and there are concerns about whether or not those who are allegedly committing the crimes are apprehended fast enough. I know there have been questions about CCTV cameras and also air surveillance. Is that under consideration for the Ministry of National Security to bring back some sort of air surveillance to be able to track down criminals as soon as they commit these crimes and bring them to justice?
When you say air surveillance, what in particular do you mean?
I mean, drones, helicopters, anything that the ministry thinks can be useful for surveillance and tracking down criminals as they commit these crimes.
Well, I can tell you that it is more than being contemplated. We do use air surveillance techniques as we speak. We have been using those, and increasingly so within recent years. So yes, I am able to tell you we do use those elements in terms of dealing with crime in the country. We do. It's not about contemplation. We do.
But Minister, what has been the result of using those things? Because it doesn't seem very clear that those.
Well, you know, I can understand that. I can understand that because you don't see the whole picture. You rely on the general media, but as Minister of National Security, I myself may not see the whole picture, but I am sure I see a lot more of the whole picture than the average citizen, depending on the media, would. And I can tell you that we have been having success. It's an ongoing fight. It's an ongoing business. This whole thing has a lot to do with some of these challenges and threats which are transnational in nature, meaning very many of them, drugs, guns, human trafficking, they emanate from outside of Trinidad and Tobago and come through what is, unfortunately, our very porous border system, and the state is constantly taking action to improve our border security to prevent them from coming in. We know that guns are, for example, and drugs coming from outside are already in the space, and it's a constant ongoing work by law enforcement guided by intelligence to find and to detect. And every single day, I have exposure to the facts that they interdict guns, they interdict drugs, they arrest, they charge people. It's happening on an ongoing basis. Of course, I would like to see more. Of course, I am mindful that the society, based on information available to it, is quite justifiably traumatized, especially when you see them running out of a car here and there with automatic weapons, doing very nasty things and disappearing. Of course, we have a detection rate for murders in particular that I would like to see quintupled if possible.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Minister, because criminals must use roads to go to and to leave crime scenes. And can you give us an update on the issue with CCTV cameras and the network in the country? Because I know pretty recently, in the last couple of months, you would have updated that CCTV camera updates were imminent, and also the issue of body cam acquisition for the TT police force in terms of technology.
I was telling you just before I come to that it's an ongoing business up to Friday. It was today. Yeah, it's Monday. Friday, I officiated at a graduation ceremony of officers across the national security platform who would have graduated from 9-month training programs at the National Security Training Academy, and they would have learned different skills like surveillance, crime scene investigation, and various kinds of techniques like that. And I can tell you our personnel are traveling to all corners of the globe on an ongoing basis, exposing themselves to best practices, best techniques in terms of solving. So I can tell you it's an ongoing business, evolving as the situation demands. In terms of the cameras and body cams, I did indicate in the parliament in answer to, I think, your own question, and the position remains that we are installing, as we speak, cameras in areas and in places suggested by law enforcement across the country. That work is ongoing as I speak with you, and I am aiming at even getting some more right behind that. We do use drones, as I said to you. Body cams, we have indicated, I can't remember the figures off my head now, I answered in the parliament on the record. We have ordered more and more body cams are on order for a wider use across the police service. So the answer to your questions is, of course, yes.
Minister,
you know, just now, Minister, you know, there are a lot, to all our listeners listening, they would be pretty jaded about a lot of the responses that you're given, because it's, for them, it does not feed into a tangible result of them feeling safer. So you may be aware of certain things happening, but for a lot of citizens on the ground, for them, it's talk, and they're not seeing the results that feel safer as citizens and residents in Trinidad and Tobago. What could you tell our listeners today in terms of the trajectory of all of this national security infrastructure that is ongoing, that they should have hope that this matter is going to be, we're going to see more very significant inroads into the criminal element and the fight against crime in the near future? What can you tell them?
Well, what you are reflecting there, and I can easily understand that and accept that, is the concept or the business of fear. Fear is a psychological condition. Fear surrounds people who are even not victims of crime, because you read about it, you hear about it, there's a lot of talk on social media, and there is genuine fear in the population. They see these videos enhanced by modern communication facilities and techniques, including their cell phones in their hands. This video that went out that Steve Khan raised with me a while ago, that went out there, all of these things and all of the talk and the chatter do contribute to the justifiable fear that people hold. In those circumstances, we try to improve our communication. We reveal what law enforcement is doing. I think we can communicate more. I think they want to see, the public wants to see, and the law enforcement family is aware of that. More presence in their communities, police officers, soldiers about the place, because of course their presence acts as a deterrent. And so I understand the fear, and it's not so much about talking and telling them anything. We've talked and told a whole lot for decades in this country. It's about, as you imply, getting it done. More police officers out there. I'm happy to tell you in this regard, 159 of them entered the police academy a few weeks ago, and their training has begun. I understand that they're hastening certain aspects of the training with longer training hours to get them ready to be present in the national community over the very hectic and busy carnival period, and then they will return to their regular training behind that.
Minister, are you satisfied with the type of training being undertaken in other jurisdictions?
Let me answer this let me just answer the question. As you would know, the government decided, and we agreed with the police service that they needed more personnel. So we took a policy position that we will facilitate the recruitment of 1,000 police officers in the year 2024. That process has successfully begun. Thousands made their way to the recruitment centers in the last 48 hours or so, and the process has begun. So, and as I told you, training and upskilling and all of the cameras, the body cameras, we have worked on as a government on the criminal justice system. We are aware of the fear. We are aware of the trauma. We are aware of the threat posed by those who prefer criminality as opposed to making use of the opportunities that you people in the studio made use of, offered by the same mother, Trinidad and Tobago. There are those who intend to do differently, and we are doing all that we must in order to ensure that their opportunities are minimized. And we call on the public too, the very public, because of that trauma and fear, to support law enforcement. There are things you would know that law enforcement would not know, because they can't be every single.
But that speaks to public trust and confidence to participate.
The point is, we ask the public to join in with the law enforcement, gang up, in other words, all of us, law enforcement and law-abiding citizens, gang up so that we can assist each other in pushing back the unlawful.
Well, I would use a different phrase than gang up myself, but while it's commendable that
I use it very loosely with a small g. I don't mean gang to commit criminal offenses. I mean gang up, team up, in order to, in that strength, in that unity, more eyes and more ears and better parenting.
But Minister, that speaks to public trust and confidence to participate, to team up. And that's very low in terms of the public perception of the police service. You spoke about more officers being taken in for training. And you also spoke, not on this occasion only, but others, about the evolving criminality in the country, more transnational. Do you think the present training, given the entry requirements compared to other jurisdictions, is adequate, given the evolving criminality and what officers have to deal with now compared to 15 years ago?
I think, in fact, not only do I think, I know that the training that we offer to our officers here on entry and throughout their service, I know that it is consistent with international best practice.
Yeah, but that seems to be what's happening coming out of St. Joseph Police Station the last 2 weeks.
Well, that behavior from St. Joseph Police Station, which as Minister I spoke on, the Commissioner spoke and acted on, was the behavior of an officer that is not consistent with international best practice, not consistent with the policy of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, not consistent with the regulations of the police service, and as a consequence, the Commissioner and her leadership immediately acted to have that officer disciplined, as officers are when they go contrary to the rule. There are journalists who go contrary to the philosophy and the principles that guide your noble profession. There are judges in the world. There are police officers. This happens, is a human condition, but it is to be taken that once it goes contrary to what is expected, police officers here have been charged for every single criminal offense that you can think about. Rape, murder, manslaughter, larceny, all manners of things. In other words, the very police service frowns upon it, and the police officers act against their own members and members across law enforcement, and when they go contrary to what their oaths and what is expected of them and the law.
Minister, I wanted to go back a bit to Richard's question in terms of police communication. Well, I'm adding in communication and response time. And I'll give four examples, four most recent examples. One, the shooting of the businessman at Long Circular Mall, where in exiting the mall, the car had to pass right by a police unit right there and close to the barracks. 2, the shooting on Arapita Avenue, where you had to go along a very busy avenue or Wrightson Road to get out. 3, the shooting on the highway with the killing of the bystander also. And 4, the one where a murder took place in front of the Belmont police station. And the response time of the TTPS in dealing with these particular issues that seemed on the surface to be something that they could have nipped in the bud almost immediately after. The fact that we have not heard anything from the TTPS since, are you satisfied?
Well, I would like to see the police respond more swiftly on every occasion. I would like to see the police intercept, detect, and solve all of the crimes that are committed. I cannot speak to those specific issues in terms of the times because, of course, I will have to find out more details. I've heard commentary about them, but in answer to your question now, I don't have the exact details in front of me, and it will be foolhardy for me to continue carrying on that particular matter. But generally speaking, I am sure that the public wants, and I would like to see, greater, swifter, successful responses from the police. Like I am aware on a few occasions, they intercepted people coming back from crimes, encountered them, different kinds of things ensued. So yes, I am agreeing with your implication, your implied suggestion that sometimes the response appears a little slower than it should be, and I would like to see it improved in all cases, and the Commissioner of Police and her teams are aware of that, and of course aiming towards improving it as we proceed.
Can you give us an update on the
Yes.
proposition for lie detector tests for officers that was purported to be a proposal some time ago?
Yes, I presented a bill to allow the leadership of the police service, the defense force, the fire service, the prison service, the immigration, the customs, the Board of Inland Revenue, and certain elements of the Registrar General's department to be able to call on employees in certain specific circumstances to be involuntarily, mandatorily integrity tested, largely with the use of polygraph testing in certain circumstances. As I said, when I presented that bill, which we thought was in, of course, the public interest, especially when you consider the behavior of some of the personnel working in the institutions that I've just described, the opposition began to sound as though they were not prepared to support it. It will, of course, require a supermajority, what you call a special majority. It's not a ordinary bill. It affects certain rights, and therefore it requires that majority. The debate was postponed. We will go back to Parliament. We have gone back to Parliament. Well, we plan to go back to Parliament in the next few days to continue that debate and hope that we will get the support of the opposition to allow the heads of these divisions to be able to certify the truthfulness, the wholeness. These systems are not, as you know, not perfect, but it is the best now in the world on offer in terms of integrity testing and to be used in certain ways to protect the public from those inside of these agencies who act to harm rather than protect them.
Speaking of your friends, the opposition, they're kicking off their anti-crime town hall meetings this evening. Could you give us an update? The government has presented a particular position on the proposed crime talks with the opposition. The Prime Minister has named a particular team. Is there any update on that from the government perspective?
No, the position as espoused by the Prime Minister the last time the matter came in front of him remains, that we are available to have this engagement with the opposition in the public interest. The sticking point at that time was whether he must be on it or not, and the opposition didn't seem to understand or appreciate that. As a consequence, I'm now hearing that they have decided in the circumstances to abandon those prospects and to go to the public in their own way about consulting with the public on crime. And, they're entitled to do that. We will continue to develop and implement good and sound policy. We will continue to listen to the needs of the society. We are going to continue to be guided by the experts in these matters and to provide the resources that are necessary. And as I said, once the public continues to work in its own interest, to collaborate, to share, because the public does share valuable information. I am able to say that we can't discuss it in the public. But yes, a lot of the police success comes from, you would have heard Mr. Alexander, for an example, explain the guns they found out in the Santa Cruz area some months ago. That was as a result of some, support and so on. And that is to continue. So we are going to be continuing to apply resources, strengthen these institutions, and improve the criminal justice system generally, all with an aim of being able to better manage the crime challenges that faces Trinidad and Tobago as we go forward.
Minister, one of the issues that recently came to the public for is the unfortunate killings of a mother and daughter in West Trinidad, the subsequent arrest and charging of a member of the TTDF, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. Is there a particular policy, to your knowledge, on officers who are subject to protection orders still having access to their weapons, their perceptions, and ammunition, given what has transpired in that case? And what's your perspective on that?
Well, once the court imposes a domestic violence order, and you have a man sitting in the room with you there called Richard Agubasin, who is intimately familiar with the details of this. But let me just say, once the court imposes a domestic violence order against a member of the protective services, of course the agency in which that personnel, that officer is stationed, is attached, will comply with the court's order. In this particular case, and mind you, the matter is sub judice, so I can only be very limited in my comments, but I understand that there was a very stringent order in place from the court which required him to be at his camp all of the time, or most of the time, under the watch of a senior officer of the Defense Force. And I understand, I hope to God I am correct, I understand because I'm awaiting a final report on this matter. But I'll venture to say, sometimes, as Richard will tell you, the court on application from the person charged through his lawyers would vary the order, and I think there was a variation of the order in this case which allowed a little bit of relaxation along the lines that I have just described. And
but my question is about policy in the TTDF and the access to the weapon for that particular officer who may be under such protection order.
Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But of course, the answer is yes. They take into account the order of the court and they act accordingly.
So somebody may have dropped the ball here in this case.
I am awaiting a final report, Wendell. I don't want to comment prematurely on the matter, but a lot went horribly wrong. And the Defense Force is, along with the police, engaged in an understanding of what and how things may have gone wrong. And when that report becomes known, we will use it, as we must, to learn from it in the evolution and improve things so that you minimize the possibility of it happening again. But clearly, from the results that we have in front of us, things went wrong.
Minister, before we end, are there particular bits of legislation, because the government's position on the bail issue is clear, coming to the Parliament in terms of intensifying the fight against crime?
Well, I did see even a Guardian editorial speaking, presumably, on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, at least the Guardian's readers and supporters, that we should return to Parliament. This was an editorial of yesterday, Sunday or Saturday. We should return to Parliament, implying that the opposition should support the bail restrictions. That is one. We plan, because we need information. Information is the lifeblood of policing. And therefore, the whistleblower legislation that we brought that the UNC rejected, we propose, I can tell you as a government minister, to bring it to them again, to ask them on your behalf for their support on that basis. As I tell you, we're going to continue the discussion on the polygraph testing bill, because you are not going to really respond to crime if people inside of your organizations are amenable to crime, supporting it in one way or the next. And therefore, we know we need to keep our personnel whole. We need to have things in place to deter them from falling prey to criminality. So we're going to be continuing the debate in that regard. As you know, so there are several bits of legislation, but those are the ones that now immediately come to mind. I have as well, on the other paper, as you might know, the private security bill, which we went a joint select committee with independent senators participated. We came to a position when I went back to the House, the UNC started to oppose it again, and that was a bill to regulate the private security industry, to provide for their improved training, improved resourcing, paying, and training, and all of those arrangements, so that we could link the private security industry, about 50,000 of them, to the law enforcement platforms of the state, as happens in England, in Canada, in Israel, in other places of the world. And when we do that, we will have more eyes around. They're organized and trained to push back against criminals. I came back to the Parliament with it. The UNC showed opposition to it again, and we plan to take it back to them for further consideration on your behalf.
So my final question, Minister, is that the position that you hold as Minister of National Security, you would be aware of a lot more than the average citizen. Is because of what has been discussed in certain other areas, is there anything, any small, minute shred of evidence to suggest that a lot of what we are seeing can be attributed to political mischief?
In the sense that I have just explained, because one of the tools that we use to push back against criminals is the law, legislation. And therefore, to the extent that the UNC in the Parliament will not and find frivolous reasons to oppose the law that would assist in protecting the public, to that extent it is attributable to that extent. But as we see crime and violence as public health concerns, I read, for example, there's so much more. There's so much more to it. A lot to it. But I think altogether, the solutions, the approaches to improvement are not unknown. It is about getting down to the work, all of us. It is about doing the things we are supposed to do. It is about, a whole lot of influences which the sociologists will speak about. But as for law enforcement, my business is to, one, provide them with the resources that they need to carry out their mandate to protect us. Two, to ensure that these institutions are strengthened improved so that they can function more effectively. And finally, and on top of all of that, is to continue to glean from the public through the government good, strong public policies that will guide these institutions in the service of the public. So we do that, and we do that on an ongoing basis. Gentlemen, you told me that this interview should have taken no more than about 10 minutes. I rather suspect that in typical Trinidadian way, you would have taken me
I
more
don't know who would tell you something like that. I don't know who would have an
There's something I really.
something like that.
We do appreciate the time that you spend with us.
That business informed you.
Hinted it might be about 10 minutes.
I wonder who
So
that
I
birdie
would
can
like,
be,
with
boy.
your leave, since I have some other responsibility which I must honor, I would like, with your leave, to thank you very much for the opportunity to have engaged with you and your listeners and give you the assurance that as a member of parliament, as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, as the Minister of National Security, I will continue to exert best efforts in trying to resolve the problems that afflict us in Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister Hines, for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All the best. All right, gentlemen.
Have a great day. Be safe and happy. And be kind to someone today.
Folks, have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
Yep. Remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. Have a great one.